Another splendid day for baseball in Chicagoland. The series finale between the Sox and Angels. The Sox looking for a series victory and 3 wins in a row today against the Halos. Good afternoon, everybody. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone along with you. The Sox pitching has been paramount in this 10-5 start, but the defense has been almost equally important.
Last couple of years, the Sox are looking for better defense, and this year they have just that. We'll take a look at Adam Eaton to lead it off because he makes an unbelievable throw from right field. He charges the ball, a one-hop throw to Navarro, tagging Andrelton Simmons out at the plate, preserving what would go on to be a 2-0 Sox win. Then Alex Avila with a great throw to second base, cutting down Mike Trout. This is an outstanding effort because Trout had a great jump. Then Todd Frazier at third base, getting out of the 8th inning with a very good throw, gets it across in time, and the Sox go on to win 2-1 behind Chris Sale, who's now 4-0.
Pitching matchup today, John Danks for the Sox against the Angels' Jared Weaver, who's getting later in his career after 3 All-Star seasons.
Well, unfortunately for Weaver, the velocity is well down. However, the control has been pretty good. In fact, against Texas the first time out, he threw the ball very well, and this is quintessential Weaver. The slow curveball, the changeup, occasional fastballs inside, and Weaver does it all, and he does it slowly. Last year against our ball club, there's the curveball away to Abreu, the inside fastball to Garcia, and the changeup to Adam Eaton. This is what he'll depend on, and this is what he'll use today, although the velocity up a couple of miles an hour. And you look at lifetime, 10-2 against our Sox, ERA of 1.99. Now, he's given up 6 home runs lifetime against our ball club, 5 of them in this park, where his lifetime ERA is 2.79 despite going 5-1. So the Sox today should be looking for a cornucopia of slow stuff because they're going to get it from Weaver.
Trying to stay in first place, the Sox are 10-5, a half game up on the Royals. Sox and Angels. The last game of the series, game 4 of a 7-game homestand, coming next.
Brought to you in part by Toyota. Discover more in a Toyota. Visit buyatoyota.com or your local Toyota dealer today. Let's go places. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all. Audi. Truth in engineering. And by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV.
69 degrees. Beautiful day to toss some beanbags and toss some baseball around here at U.S. Cellular Field. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone, our entire crew as the Sox take on the Angels. Sox are 10-5. The Angels are 6-9, 3 games off the pace in the AL West. And the Texas Rangers, who Robin Ventura will see for the 3-game series coming up over the weekend.
Well, certainly the ball club is playing good, solid baseball, and nobody had to tell them in spring training how important it was to get off to a very good start. Because of the fact that 27 of the first 28 days, there was going to be baseball, only one off day, and most of it on the road, and the Sox have done just that.
Sox are taking the field. Tell you about the Angels lineup, which had 6 hits in the first inning in this series, 7 the last 2 days combined. Escobar, Simmons at the top of the card. Then Mike Trout and Albert Pujols, who have been relatively quiet in this set. Cole Calhoun, the lefty in the 5 spot. Giavotella, Cron, Perez, and Gentry in the 9th position. Steve?
Well, as Johnny Danks starts his warm-up throws, let's take a look at the defense and how Robin is going to line them up this afternoon. Melky Cabrera in left field with Austin Jackson in center. Then it's Adam Eaton in right field. In what's proven to be a pretty solid defensive outfield, both throwing it and catching it. Todd Frazier is at third base with Jimmy Rollins, Brett Lawrie, Jose Abreu in the infield. Alex Avila gets the nod behind the plate. And our Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher is Johnny Danks. He's looking for a good outing today after 2 very tough ones. 14 hits in 11 and a third. He's only walked 4, but it's been location that's been giving him the big problems. Hopefully today he can keep that changeup down and away to the right-hand hitters. Make sure that when he throws his fastball, if he wants it away, he gets it away, because the arm side, which is away to the right-handers, into the left-handers, has been giving him some difficulty. The umpires for the game this afternoon: Paul Narek behind the plate. Jerry Meals, the crew chief, is at first. Chris Conroy is at second. And Gabe Morales is at third base. So the Sox coming in have been road warriors this year. 7-3 on the road, which is pretty strong in the early going. Washington is 6-2. The Cubs 7-2. So the Sox right up there with the best in baseball away from U.S. Cellular Field, trying to add another in their string of 2 home victories, and hopefully they can get that accomplished today. So the fireworks are set off. The haze has come across the ballpark, which means we're ready to play baseball. I'm ready to turn it over to my play-by-play partner, Jason Benetti.
Well, thank you, Steve. The Sox are up there with the best in baseball overall record-wise as well. One of 3 teams with at least 10 wins this season in Major League Baseball, as Yunel Escobar stands in for the Angels, who put up the 1 run yesterday on a 2-out pinch hit and were shut out 2 days ago after a 5-run first inning as they arrived here in Chicago. John Danks with his 14th start career against the Los Angeles Angels by way of Anaheim. And Escobar first in a lineup full of righties. Just one lefty. First pitch is high, ball 1 at 69 degrees. A beautiful day for baseball this Thursday afternoon.
One of the keys for Johnny Danks is holding down Yunel Escobar, because he's hit very well against him lifetime.
How well, Steve?
Well, funny you should ask. 429, a robust 429. Now, it's only been 14 at-bats. It's been 6 hits. Hasn't shown any power against him. But today, with the temperatures up a bit, it's going to be a little livelier here.
These pitching staffs both have been very good at the outset. The Angels 11th best in ERA in the majors. The Sox 3rd best, behind just the Cubs and Nationals, to open the season. Strike 2. Yunel Escobar just 1 for 13 this series. A guy who's tied for 3rd in the major leagues with 6 doubles. Called strike 3. Good start for John Danks.
Great way to start. This one on the inside corner. It does have part of the plate. Escobar didn't like it, but Paul Nauert, who gets a deciding vote, thought it was good enough. And looking at the Menards pitch tracks, it was.
So one down for Andrelton Simmons, who had his 12-game hit streak busted yesterday with an 0 for 4. It looked like he might have a hit to lead off that 9th inning. He hit sort of a knuckling line drive to Austin Jackson in center field, and Austin made a great read on it and a tremendous play to track it down to start that 9th. 1-1 on Simmons.
Actually, it could very well be the hardest ball hit of the game, but fortunately Austin there, as he has been most of this year.
One and two from John Danks to Andrelton Simmons, who does have a homer against Danks in his career.
Looks like Nauert's going to give him the inside part of the plate. If he does give him strikes in there, it's going to make that outside corner that much more desirable as he goes in again.
And sprayed foul by Simmons.
That one back toward this way. So I will make sure that all is well with you. You can come out from under the counter.
It's safe?
It is safe now as Bobby Bertucci comes into the booth with some goodies for you.
Bags of delightful food have just joined us. Thank you, Bobby.
He is one of the most tan people around. Reminds me of a younger George Hamilton.
2-2. Some have said the same about you.
Well, that's high blood pressure, but thank you.
He's the older George Hamilton. Mike Trout on deck. He's been on base quite a bit this series, but he hasn't had those big hits. No extra base hits so far for Trout in the first 3. On 3-2, that ball well hit by Simmons and foul.
Tried to get inside once again. This one had a little bit more of the plate than he would like, and Simmons, who I think it's fair to say walks begrudgingly, swinging at just about everything 3-2. If you are going to walk him, it's going to have to be way away.
Very close, ball 4. Well, you said it early. The inside corner would be key for John Danks, how extendo it was.
And he went back in there. This one just missed. And Andrelton Simmons, a historic first walk of this young season.
We knew it would come at some point, and there she is on April the 21st. So Mike Trout, who was 3 for 4 yesterday and was involved in one of the biggest plays of the game in the 9th inning with 1 out. It's a 1-run game at that point. Trout fouls it away. He grounded the ball to Todd Frazier at third, who made the play on a ball, threw it to first. Jerry Sands was unable to make the pick. Ball bounced away toward the tarp down the right field line. Trout tripped around first base. Sands tracked it down and threw to second, and Trout was out for the second out of that 9th inning when it could have been a single with 1 out for Albert Pujols.
Another factor on the play you just mentioned was the great tag by Tyler Saladino, because the throw hurried by Sands. He had to hurry because he knows Trout can run, but it was just off the mark to the home plate side of second base. He dove back at Trout, able to tag him before he hit the bag, and that was one of the biggest outs of the game.
Jerry Sands said before the game today that, number 1, he saw Trout trip and fall around first. Number 2, he heard the Angels dugout, the first base coach yelling no to Trout.
Well, he thought he said go, I think.
Very difficult to discern. So many people talking at the same time. Fouled off by Trout, 2-2.
Ball had gotten away, unfortunately didn't carry him down the line. There's the throw, as you can see, the home plate side of second, and Tyler just reaches back, able to put the tag on an eyelash ahead of Trout. That was Jerry Meals on the call.
Another foul ball from Trout. He'll see pitch number 6.
Mike Trout is, along with Bryce Harper, 2 of the brilliant young stars in the game. There's always a debate. Who is the better of the 2? You're not gonna do poorly if you have either of them on your team, as the Nationals and the Angels have found out.
Throw to first. Safe. Simmons was leaning.
That was a great pickoff by Johnny Danks, and Simmons just barely in. Abreu with the tag, the call by Jerry Meals, but he got the hand in before the tag. This is close. If he's thinking about going, that'll shorten up your lead a touch.
2-2. Up and out. 3-2 on Trout. So wait. You just presented Trout and Harper and said you can't go wrong with either of them.
Right.
But in the opener of this series,
yes,
you pinned me down and said, well, you got to pick one of them.
What I said was that I would like you to go out on the limb and pick one, and you straddled the fence deftly and wouldn't pick either. I, however, picked Harper for the simple reason that he swings the bat left-handed, and I thought there were many more right-handed starters, premier setup men, and right-handed closers than left. So with terminal soreness,
3-2 is low. Ball 4, 2 on, 1 out in this first inning for the Angels, who had this very same situation against Matt Latos 2 days ago.
you did not pick, so I will give you an opportunity once again. If you had a choice, again, you have a choice of one of the 2, knowing you can't go wrong with either of them. Who would you pick?
I would take Mike Trout because and I like Bryce Harper. I think he's a very good player. And
this is not
don't
to
even need to
denigrate
qualify that.
Bryce Harper, no.
But I think Trout plays with a little bit less recklessness, and so over the course of time, you'd imagine he would play in more games than Bryce Harper. So I would lean that direction.
A very well thought out defense, counselor.
Thank you. 2 on, 1 out for Pujols in this scoreless first. Danks is low, ball 1.
If you can get Albert to hit the ball anywhere on the ground, there's a very good chance it's going to be 2, and John could certainly use it after the walks to Simmons and Trout. Now, Sox have used a pretty good play throwing behind the base runner at first base. That sign, I believe, would have to come from Abreu.
Abreu not currently holding the runner. Trout on at first. 2-0 from Danks. Big gap between Abreu and the first base bag.
Wilson, even 300 lifetime against John. He's got to induce a ground ball. Those are the career numbers, and they're special.
Pujols a drive to left, and again hooking away from the pole. 2-1. Albert Pujols came into this year 9th all-time in slugging percentage. With a tough start to this year, he's 281. He's now 10th behind DiMaggio.
That one low and in. Albert, who's had a lot of problems with his feet and lower parts of his body, this year has come in 100% healthy, which is not good news for pitchers around the American League.
2-1 from Danks. That's high and tight. 3-1 to Pujols with the left-hander Calhoun on deck. What's the message here?
Well, you have to leave your pitcher with a positive message, and what you're saying here is, look, give me a ball down. Albert loves the ball up, by the way. Give me something down. He'll hit it on the ground. If he does, it's going to be 2 and out of the inning. So throw me something down and get the ground ball as Don Cooper looks on.
Three and 1. Hopped him up. Infield fly rule called. Rollins the catch anyway. 2 down. A big second out early in this game.
That ball was right down the middle. It was John's fastball, and Albert got under it.
So 2 out for Cole Calhoun, who was 0 for 2 yesterday. Calhoun has struggled against John Danks. He is 1 for 8 against him career, but the one was a 2-run homer.
Shift is on with Laurie back on the grass on the right side. Hitting .333 this year against left-handers, and that's how you force your manager to play you every day. Just prove you can hit the lefties. Calhoun has done that over the last couple of years.
Tipped it foul, 1-1.
That Calhoun was at bat with Chris Sale rolling right along, and then with 2 strikes on him, he hit him in the foot to lead off the 8th inning. That was the inning that the Angels scored their run. But that's all they got was the lone run, unearned. The only real blemish, if you can call it that, on a brilliant performance by Chris Sale.
To third, Frazier spears it, inning over. 2 walks, no harm. Very similar to 2 days ago with Matt Latos. Sox will hit next. And here's Robin Ventura's starting lineup. It begins with Adam Eaton, who's hitting .327. Then Rollins and Abreu, Frazier, Cabrera, and Laurie, who walked 3 times yesterday and has a nice career line against Jared Weaver and Jackson Garcia and Avila.
Let's take a look at how Mike Scioscia's going to line up his defense behind Jared Weaver. It's Gentry, Trout, and Calhoun in the outfield. Yunel Escobar, Andrelton Simmons, Johnny Giavotella, and C.J. Cron in the infield. Carlos Perez behind the plate. And our Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher is Jared Weaver. 10-2 lifetime against our Sox in 2 starts this year. 1-0 ERA. A little bit higher than he would like. He threw a gem the first time out. Did not throw well the second time out. And in spring training, he threw the ball 78, 79 miles an hour. It's a little stiffer these days.
First pitch, a strike to Adam Eaton, and we'll show you our picks to click today with Eaton standing in. He's a .418 slugger so far with 3 doubles and a triple. Breaking ball up and away, 1-1. On a breaking ball, Eaton flares it to right center, and the oncoming Cole Calhoun makes the catch. So here are the picks to click. The crew went with the Sox catcher today, Alex Avila, trying to get off that 0. Jimmy Rollins for Steve. And I went with @ShySocksNut on Twitter, who says Adam Eaton because he's a good off-speed hitter, and Weaver throws, in his words, real slow.
That was a well-reasoned out pick.
Yeah.
You can inform him that he is 0 for 1.
I'm sure he was watching. And thanks for that. So 1 out for Jimmy Rollins, who got the day off yesterday, and a nice day for Tyler Saladino, who homered and made a gem of a defensive play in the 9th.
Weaver out of Long Beach State. They've provided quite a few quality players to the major leagues. It's a good, strong program.
He is a dirtbag. They call the Long Beach State baseball players dirtbags.
I'm glad you qualified that. I always found Jared to be a nice guy.
It's because of the field that they practice on.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's a very sandy field. Pitch outside to Rollins.
He's 6'7", 210. I would hate to see him chasing you around. Last year, 7-12 with a 4.64 ERA in 26 starts.
And a walk here to Jimmy Rollins on 4 pitches, his 3rd walk of the series. So 1 on 1 out for Jose Abreu, who homered a couple of days ago in game 2 of this series.
They're going to leave the right side of the infield completely open, with Crone holding him tight and Giavotella playing up the middle.
You've seen Jose quite a bit. What do you think of that shift?
Well, I think for him, it's a good shift only because if he tries to hit a ground ball to the right side, you take away his power. I don't think he's even thinking about the shift when he approaches each and every pitch. He's just trying to get something to hit it hard. But that's the defensive charts. They show that you play him in the outfield somewhat straight away. Now, this is unusual because the Angels actually have Trout a couple of steps toward the third base side of center field. Most teams, although they play him as a pull hitter in the infield, play him as an opposite field hitter in the outfield.
Ball and a strike on Abreu with Rollins at first. Check on Jimmy Rollins, who's stolen a couple bags against Weaver in his career.
Weaver's not hard to run against because he throws a lot of slow stuff, and at 6'7", he's not all that quick to home plate, although he will occasionally use a slide step.
Up and in, 2-1 on Abreu.
That fastball is 83 and doesn't sound like much, but for Weaver, it's actually a good sign because we talked about spring training throwing 78, 79 miles an hour. Now the velocity is getting a bit higher, although you wouldn't say he can get it up there even average major league fastball.
Inside at 66, 3-1.
That's his best curveball velocity-wise. It's going to be 66, 67 miles an hour. That way it still has a lot of rotation. The curveball is a rotation pitch, not a velocity pitch, but every pitcher has a comfort zone where he throws his curve.
Jared Weaver had some neck issues in spring training. He saw a spine specialist a couple weeks into spring training, and he was saying, I'd rather have somebody just tell me that I have to have surgery. I want to know what's going on here. And good to see him out on the mound. 3-1 fouled away. 3-2 with all those troubles. It looked like there was a chance he might end up on the DL to start the year.
Well, he had some of those problems last year, not only neck problems, but he's had periodic back problems. And again, a lot of big men will experience that. But because he's never been a flamethrower after his first couple of years, perhaps, in the major leagues, it doesn't affect him near as much as it would somebody else. I would think Rollins would be going here.
So does Weaver.
Perez behind the plate. Last year threw out 38% of the runners that tried to steal against him, so he's pretty good back there. I talked with Scioscia about him. He said good footwork, quick delivery, and normally very accurate. And you get a chance to see it.
There goes Rollins, swing and a miss, and the throw to second is waiting for Jimmy's arrival. Strike him out, throw him out, double play for the Angels. Ends the first inning at U.S. Cellular Field, no score. Hayes from CSNChicago.com, presented by The Great Escape Pools, Patio Furniture, Hot Tubs, and more. Escape your everyday. Shop The Great Escape. Dan Hayes here. Do you get a hot tub for that? You get a free hot tub?
That'd be swell.
Yeah, why don't we hook that up for Dan Hayes? So you were talking to some folks in the bullpen before the game. You got some news on David Robertson and how he deals with a 2-inning save or multiple inning save.
Right. Yesterday he actually kind of felt like it had been last Thursday since he had pitched. So he knew when that phone rang in the 8th inning there was a chance he was going to be getting the call. And you know, a lot of relievers will tell you that one of the toughest things about it is they come into a tight spot in the first inning there, and then they have to go and sit on the bench there for a little bit, and it's not quite the same situation. But Robertson says what he tries to do is go to the bullpen or go into the clubhouse, take a lap, and just try to walk around and stay moving, keep fired up. And he said once he gets back on the mound, it's something that keeps him back mentally into it. He did have a different situation when he came in yesterday facing Mike Trout and Albert Pujols in a one-run game, so probably helped him stay fired up a little bit. He said that, but at the same time, it definitely, the cool-down period is a little strange. It's the first time he's done that since last May, but he also has done it 7 times, converted 7 of those in 9 tries for his career.
You're talking about multiple inning saves, or at least more than 1 inning.
Correct. And the last one was last May 16th. He said that it was something that was new, but he's still used to it. But he had one in July. He blew that. He had 4 for the Yankees in 2014, and he feels, you know, even though it's something that's rare, that he's comfortable with his routine. Like I said, walking around that clubhouse and kind of keeping the blood flowing.
Used to be pretty standard procedure that a guy would come in for 4, 5, sometimes 6 outs. But that isn't the case. Tony La Russa really had the 1-inning specialist with Dennis Eckersley in Oakland. And now 1-inning specialty is kind of where it's at. So a base hit by Giovitella leads it off.
And Robin Ventura feels like he has quite a few guys that can do that for him now, go inning to inning. Loves Nate Jones in the 8th. He's got Matt Albers and Zach Duke to kind of go in front of them. And, you know, they feel very much like they have a trustworthy bullpen. As Robin said today, he has a bullpen with a lot of mileage on it, and he thinks that mentally that helps the guys get through some tough situations. So far, they have a 1.52 group ERA. They have 16 holds in the first 15 games.
It's the best bullpen ERA in Major League Baseball right now. So Giovitella is on at first, and C.J. Cron is the hitter for the Angels. And we once again thank Dan Hayes for joining us at CSN Hayes. You can follow him on Twitter. What can they get from you when you're on Twitter?
Ooh.
What do you have?
Ooh, a lot.
You got anything good recently?
Bad jokes.
Bad jokes.
Pat Jones.
You can follow him or not follow him at CSN Hayes. Danny, thank you. Always a pleasure to have Dan Hayes in the booth. Some info on the bullpen, and David Robertson taking a lap around the clubhouse to get himself ready.
That Dan Hayes was pretty strong today. Had some good information.
Yeah.
Some things that you just don't hear very much about what has been one of the best bullpens in baseball.
What do you think of that? Just walk around the clubhouse a little bit? Is that something that would help you?
Now or
Well,
when I actually played?
cardio.
I think a starting pitcher usually will do some of that.
C.J. Cron pops it foul. And 2 balls and a strike on the Angels' first baseman. What was one of your routines? One of the things you did to try and get ready for a start?
I actually went over the lineup in my mind because I knew just about everybody I was going to face. And I would go over and think about getting them out 3 times. 27 outs, a perfect game each and every time. Saw every pitch I would throw to them. And as I got a little bit better in knowing what I had to do, visualizations was one of the things that I used. So I think it's really essential for a good pitcher to do that. I think we're getting more aware of how strong the mind plays in each and every game, because physically you can't get any bigger, stronger, or quicker, but you can improve the mind, and the mental aspect of competition is paramount.
You know, nowadays, 3-1 on Cron. Nowadays, basically every major league team has a team psychologist, guys that'll come around and talk to the players and get them into the right mental state. And so you're playing even more on the margin with the mental ability of all the players, because everybody's going deeper into the medical of it. 3-1. Cron to right field. Adam Eaton, long run and foul. 3-2.
Everybody will tell you that once you get to the major leagues, this game, and they use a different percentage, but anywhere from 75 to 85% mental. So I always felt, and this was a long time ago, that each team that had 3 or 4 physical coaches for, let's say, 25% of the game was good, but that left 75% of the game with no coaches. And now we're getting a little bit better at understanding just how valuable that approach is, using mental coaches for the players. I used to call them, actually I did it for a bit, a competition consultant.
It's a very contemporary term.
Well, I worked with tennis players, golfers, and some baseball players on how they can get better from the mental aspect and more prepared on a daily basis. And worked very well for me, and with varying degrees for some other folks.
3-2 on Cron. Giovitella at first and 2 on now with nobody out in the second inning. And that's the disconnect between the day-to-day of being a huge Sox fan and some of the players. I mean, after Carlos Rodon, for example, goes a third of an inning, and the reaction from fans and people who love the team is, oh my gosh, what's going on? What's wrong? It's Don Cooper's job to essentially say, keep doing what you were doing before. Don't make too much of a start like that.
And pitching coaches have to be, in my estimation, 1/3 mechanic, 1/3 psychologist, and 1/3 father confessor, in that you're going to tell him if anything is wrong with you, and he's going to tell you that it's okay, hang in there, do whatever you need to do. But the psychological aspect of each and every outing from start to start is pretty important. And now Johnny Danks has got to put the first 2 hitters behind him and get a ground ball out of Perez.
Perez pops up a bunt, foul. Now, here's a question. First and second, nobody out. John Danks has walked 3. You can make a strong argument. Would you donate the out here? Would you bunt, or would you make him get you out?
Well, with Mike Scioscia knowing his players, quite obviously better than you and I would think at 194 for Perez, because he doesn't run particularly well. You don't want the ground ball. You just as soon him bunt it at Todd Frazier at third.
Now the bunt's off. It's 1-1. Mike Scioscia, long-tenured skipper of the Angels.
Perez has grounded into one double play this year. The Angels, 14 double plays grounded into, and that is a very high number.
14 in 15 games. Fouled off again, 1-2 on Perez.
Perez acquired from the Blue Jays with pitcher Nick Tropiano, who's in their starting rotation now because of injuries, for catcher Hank Conger.
It's turned out to be a pretty good trade for the Angels.
Very good trade, as Conger has found his way to Tampa Bay, where he has really struggled throwing out base stealers.
Down goes Perez on a strikeout for Danks, one away.
That was a good cutter down and in, and Perez swung over the top. Good pitch by Johnny Danks, one of the best of this young afternoon, and a big first out.
So now, runners still at first and second, one out for Gentry, who's 4 for 28 so far this season. That would be the argument against bunting. At least evidence against that would be Gentry's numbers. You bunt guys into scoring position in order to drive them in, and Gentry has not done much of that here this year. Downstairs, ball one from Danks.
He is no stranger to Johnny Danks, although he hasn't seen him a great deal. 6 at-bats, a couple of hits. He has grounded into one double play, although he has great speed. John's got to make some good pitches. Even though the pitches are piling up, he's going to deliver number 44.
1-0 becomes 2-0. Gentry before this season, 443 career games in the majors with Texas and Oakland. Played left field for now the last 2 days in this series. To third, Frazier on the bag, to first, getting over. Another Angels double play, and that'll do it.
Their playoff lives as they get set for Game 5 versus the Blues. Coverage begins at 8 o'clock with Chevy Blackhawks pregame live on CSN Chicago. Blackhawks playoff hockey is brought to you by Volvo.
Series at 3-1. They need it bad.
Historically, if we take our history back to the last 6 years, with their back to the wall at 3-1, they've played very well. And hopefully tonight, no exception.
That sign that young lady had said, "We need 2 wins today." It'd be very difficult to pick up 2 playoff hockey wins in one game. I think she meant Sox and Hawks. Frazier got a curveball and lofted it to the right side. Giavotella for out number 1. Customize your own Pick 7 or Pick 14 season flex plan today. The Pick 7 and Pick 4 plans feature savings off individual game tickets. For tickets or more information, visit the WhiteSox.com website or call 312-674-1000.
Well, from the front office, Brad Boron today was able to get me hooked up, giving me magic words and some magic beans, I think, but I was able to get on and make my first tweet. So I have, what do I call it? I entered Tweetville, Tweetland. What is it exactly?
Well, it's whatever you want to call it. But we're happy to have you along for the ride.
Thank you.
66 miles an hour. You're not going to get pulled over for that.
Oh, that's a slow curve. Nuts on Clark. And the young man probably needs a little more sugar in his life.
Just a skosh more. This is a big day, though, for Sox fans, because now they can tweet at you. Tweet nuts on Stoney if they want to. At Steve Stone is your Twitter handle, and you've already replied to one person who said that you look like you hadn't aged. She evidently does not have an HD set.
And that's how you can get in touch with me. And Jason, very similar, although it doesn't say Steve Stone at Steve Stone for Jason's.
So my question to you is, and this has been brought up by Jim Angio on the truck, what happens to all those jobs at the clearinghouse in Omaha where you used to send your tweets through?
Well, they're still screening them.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, so I get the occasional tweet.
Well, that's good. That's good for the economy in Nebraska. 2-2 on Melky Cabrera. A lovely day. High 60s. Melky to first base. C.J. Cron and out number 2.
One of the big factors when you're facing a guy that throws just about everything off speed, as Weaver does, is you got to start thinking about the opposite field, because in his game plan, he wants you to try to pull the ball. He's going to try to throw it away from you as much as possible. If he goes in, he's going to go in off the plate. But he wants you to roll over on everything, whether it's a slow curveball to the right-handers or that straight change to the left-handers. He wants you to try to pull the ball. And when you do, normally it's not a good occurrence.
So mechanically, what should we watch for in an at-bat with a hitter trying to, how do we know he's trying to pull the ball as opposed to go the opposite way?
Just look at the head of the bat, see if he gets it out in front and rolls it over. Now that time, Brett waited, but fouled it off to the right. So he had the right idea that time, waiting on the breaking ball, trying to take it to right or right center field, but he just got under it.
2 strikes on Laurie, who has not only that mouth guard, but a spackled arm guard. Two strikes on Laurie, who for the first time in his career yesterday walked 3 times.
Pretty amazing when you consider he's been around for quite some time. We're not talking about a real young player here.
That was low. 1-2.
Weaver wanted that one, and Gabe Morales thought it was out of the zone, but I think Brett Lawrie caught a break.
One and two. Sox will stay home for the Rangers over the weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, couple of day games on the weekend, a night game tomorrow. And then Sox will head to Toronto and Baltimore to see the AL East. Laurie, a rocket to left field. Gentry back. It's off the wall. Laurie to second. He's there. Not a clean catch by Giavotella.
Well, Giavotella knew that if he was going to get the out at all, it had to be a swipe and then go right to the bag. It's a good throw by Gentry. We told you they were particularly good at the corners with Gentry and Calhoun as far as throwing the baseball, and this was a rolling curveball. With 2 strikes, you're staying down, just trying to make some contact, and he rifled it off the wall. This is a good play by Gentry because he's able to get the ball and get it back in. So Laurie thinking about 2 bases, but he's got to really turn it on. Would have been very close had Giavotella been able to pick it. He didn't. So it keeps the inning alive with 2 outs.
For Austin Jackson, who's 1 for 8 in the series thus far. Strike 1 from Weaver. Gentry played that ball very well off the wall, too. Got inside on him. Jam shot for Austin Jackson, and Trout gives way to Calhoun for the final out of the 2nd inning. Sox strand 1. We're scoreless through 2 on a Thursday.
Are back on CSN as they face Eastern Conference rival DC United. Coverage starts at 3:30 on CSN with the Spanish language broadcast available on CSN Plus. So, hola.
Steve, you leaned on your SAP button.
I did.
Oh, good. You fixed it.
Yes.
It's a nice looking hat. It's not your fedora from yesterday, but it's a nice looking hat.
I kind of like that.
Italian Heritage Night coming up in May. You can get your own White Sox fedora presented by the fine folks at Beggar's Pizza.
They laid on thick, by the way.
Escobar struck out in the first. 1 of 2 strikeouts for Johnny Tanks. A ball and a strike to Yunel Escobar. Sox are 10-5, half game up on the Royals, who finish a series today with the Tigers, who are 8-5. Indians 6-6. 2.5 back, and the Twins with those 3 wins against the Angels, but 1 against the rest of the league at 4-11. In the air, right side, and Laurie leaning for out number 1. Sox fans, join us as we welcome back White Sox greats on homecoming weekend, Friday, May 20th to Sunday, May 22nd, when the Sox battle those aforementioned Royals. Homecoming weekend presented by the Village of Bedford Park. Bring your business home to Bedford Park and win big. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com. Great to see the big hurt at the ball yard, isn't it?
Frankie is an amiable fellow. And he is coming back and reassociated himself with the White Sox. Certainly, he was a fan favorite when he played. They love to see him now. And he is a rather large fellow.
I think it was a home run derby. It was at Pittsburgh in the 90s. Remember? There's a home run derby in Pittsburgh, and a couple of the balls he hit to center field in that home run derby were just unreal. That'll get you a statue. Frazier again on short notice at third, plucks it beautifully.
What an outstanding effort. And one of the things we talked about with Todd Frazier, when he was not hitting the baseball at all, his defense didn't suffer one iota. This is a tough play. A backhand pick, the last stop being off the dirt and not the grass, and so you never really know if it's going to bounce a little bit higher or stay the same. Frazier did just a great job. And boy, he's been brilliant at third.
2 down for Mike Trout. And there's strike one. Todd was on MLB Network earlier today, and they asked him, what is it about the defense of this team that's made it so much better this year? And he said, at least part of it, the credit goes to Rick Renteria and Joe McEwing in spring training for just being so lively in their teaching of defense and in their drills. Todd said he felt like he was at high school again with the way everybody was talking and chirping and everything in spring training. So that's right up Todd's alley. And there's the very jovial Rick Renteria, Sox bench coach.
Well, knowing you have 4 left-hand starters, the left side of the infield is going to get a whole lot of work.
There's an extra man on the left side of the infield right now. Brett Lawrie has moved to the left of second base, and that 3-man shift is there as Super Joe, who they still love in Cardinal land, certainly, for his exploits off the bench in St. Louis. It's a tough play. Lawrie out, Eaton in, and hello, guys. It's a 2-out single for Trout, his 5th hit and 5th single in this series.
Although that wasn't one of the longer ones that Mike Trout will hit. 4 consecutive Silver Slugger awards for Trout. See everybody trying to make the effort, but nobody can quite get there. So that 4 straight Silver Sluggers joins Mike Piazza, the only players to win the award in each of their first 4 full seasons.
2 out, 1 on for Pujols, former Cardinal in his own right. You know, on Trout, to come up to the majors and do what he's done just mid-stride, essentially, come straight up to Major League Baseball, how hard is that to do and do what he's done to adjust to Major League pitching in basically no time at all?
Well, because you see very few people do it, you realize it's incredibly difficult. Most of the guys have some struggles. He didn't seem to have many.
Albert Pujols gives it a ride. Eaton back, and he has a play short of the warning track. John Danks is through 3. The Sox will bat in the 3rd. Coming up next.
The ending of the first and the second innings, and the defense of Todd Frazier. This line drive, he's in perfect position to make this catch. And then Gentry up, who's got good speed, but he's right at the line, able to turn two. So Todd Frazier doing just an unbelievable job defensively. Made another gem in the third inning.
Again, he's made a sizable chunk of those plays while being even with the bag as well. I mean, there's not a lot of reaction time for a third baseman playing in.
Well, that's what makes a third baseman either top quality defender or an adequate defender, and that is first step quickness at third base. You have to have quick hands, and you have to have a quick first step. You don't have to be fast. The legendary Brooks Robinson couldn't run very much at all, but great hands and first step quickness, outstanding.
2 balls and a strike on Avi Garcia, who is 0 for 7 in the series with 5 strikeouts, but maybe a good matchup here.
I think it's a pretty good matchup because he can't really throw the ball by him too often.
Outside half, 2-2.
However, that's a perfect pitch.
Fastball, Garcia floats it foul. 2-2 it remains. Bounce to shortstop, flattens out for Simmons. And a long stride a little late for Avi Garcia. 1 down.
It is a very good thing that I did enter the world of tweets, because last night, I believe it was, and I don't know, it was anonymous, but I believe it was Kelsey Grammer who tweeted me. You might remember his show that he had after he was in Cheers, and he told me the pronunciation of his show and Todd Frazier was the "jer" at the end. I believe it was followed by "you dolt." So from now on, I will call him Todd Frazier.
Thank you for clarifying that. And as I looked at the tweet on your iPad there, it did say sent from Elliott Bay Towers. So I think it was either Kelsey Grammer or it was Gene Leaves.
Could very well be.
First pitch a strike to Alex Avila, who doubled yesterday and scored a run. Went after a fastball, 0-2 to the Sox catcher. He and Deontay Navarro have both struggled a little bit off the top of this season, but they both do have a hit in this series. Navarro with that mime of wanting the baseball the other night when he came up with his hit.
That was pretty good.
Drops inside, 1-2 on Avila, the former Detroit Tiger.
There is a very fine-looking fedora type. The Sox fan taking in day baseball. 2 games in a row of day baseball. We will also be playing Saturday afternoon, taking on the first place Texas Rangers.
Rangers right now in first in the West by a game over the Oakland A's, who ran into the hot Sox team off the beginning of this season. Seattle 6-8, Angels 6-9, and Houston off to a start that the Astros fans certainly didn't want at 5-10. Evan Gattis was on the DL, came off a couple of days ago.
They've had some pitching injuries also, and that pitching staff, when healthy, is very good. Very few teams can overcome a few guys leaving their rotation and not lose a beat.
3-2. Ball 4. Avila works a walk with 1 out.
He's had a pretty good run at it in this park. It's only the 6th walk in his history at U.S. Cellular Field to go against 36 strikeouts.
So now Adam Eaton, who lined out to right to open the game for the Sox offensively, takes ball one.
When you see velocities of 81 to 83 for the fastball, you normally think of a left-handed pitcher. We've seen a lot of those left-handers succeed with velocities well down. Jamie Moyer, who seemingly pitched forever, one of those guys falls into that category. But you don't see many right-handers being able to get away with it.
And you look at Weaver's numbers from 10 to 12 when he was an All-Star. He was top 5 in Cy Young voting, and there, I mean, 30% fastballs. That is wild, isn't it?
Pretty amazing with the fastball in the low 80s, the curveball 66, 67.
Three and 0 on Eaton from a guy who led the American League in strikeouts with 233 in 2010. He followed that up with 198 the year after in 11, another All-Star season. Then he was an All-Star again in 2012 with a 20-5 record. Has a strike there for Eaton. 3-1 with Rollins on deck.
What Weaver's tried to do is drop his arm angle. It was always pretty much straight over the top. Now, in an effort to get a little more movement, he's dropped to high 3/4, which for him is a radical departure from what he had done his whole career.
So how does that get you more movement?
It just, you throw straight over the top, and you really, unless you're choking the ball or moving around in your fingers, you're going to get a pretty straight fastball. When you drop it, you have a tendency a lot of times where the fingers will kind of roll over the top of the baseball, and you'll get movement away from the left-hand hitters from a right-hand pitcher.
Eaton a fister. Trout in center. 2 down. Here is Jimmy Rollins, the 37-year-old shortstop for the Sox, who's 3 out of 6 career against Weaver. Saw each other in interleague play. Rollins with the Phillies. Weaver has been throughout his career with the Angels. He came up in 2006, started 19 games, gave up only 94 hits in 123 innings. He was an 11-2 pitcher his first season in the majors.
What he's got to do now, besides make a tremendous adjustment to the lack of velocity, is he's got to have pretty much pinpoint control, and not only pinpoint control in and out, but also up and down, using all 4 quadrants instead of just 2 of them. And you can get away with a lot more that way. See, those 2 fastballs were testing the top of the zone. One foul back and the other called.
Down 1-2 on Rollins. By the way, Weaver has had his troubles with the Yankees in his career. He's given up 5 home runs to 3 separate players. Curtis Granderson, Jesus Montero, Alex Rodriguez, who all at least have spent some time in the Yankees organization. Avila is back.
If he's going to continue to throw Jimmy Rollins some off-speed pitches, you would think that Cron would move a little to his right. He's almost right on the line, but you've got Avila at first base. He's not a threat to do anything speed-wise.
Bounce to first, C.J. Cron by his lonesome for out number 3. Sox get another 2-out runner and maroon him after 3, no score. shelf, Steve and I, and we want to give away some of it, so we came up with a contest for you at home to play. It's called Sox Math. You ready to do some Sox Math?
Well, I am, because as you know, math is my middle name. So if you can figure this out, you can get a choice. Well, actually, we'll make the choice, and that's what you have to do.
So use the hashtag SoxMath. First correct answer gets you a prize. Frank Thomas's jersey number, multiply it by Sox World Series titles, add Chris Sale's strikeout total from last year, subtract one-run games the Sox played in last year. You do the equation. You're the first person to do it. Hashtag SoxMath, and you win a prize off the shelf. Take a picture, by the way. We're going to put it up again, but take a picture on your screen and figure it out. Or you can do it on the back of a napkin or something.
Those of you who are very good at this will be able to do it in your head quickly, and then you'll come up with the number, which I could certainly give you, but that would defeat the purpose of this contest.
Hashtag SoxMath. First correct answer wins a prize off the shelf. We have the Chris Sale K counter, the Jose Abreu Bleacher Creature presented by Total, a Sox hat, a baseball,
and a jersey.
That's a shirt, Steve.
Yes, that too.
1 and 2.
Get your
on
choice
Calhoun.
of a shirt or a jersey. Actually, it is, by the way, the giveaway today, because this is a T-shirt Thursday.
Yeah, free T-shirt
and this
Thursday.
is green because of Earth Day.
You diehard Sox fans, try and beat your friends at the very least at Sox Math. I mean, you're sitting watching a game with somebody, you got to be better than your buddy at Sox Math.
You would think so.
Yeah, well, again, you already have the answer, though, Steve. I know, because of your middle name.
Yeah, it was kind of easy to figure out, and because of Earth Day, the green shirt.
Left center, Austin Jackson.
In the meantime, after a very rough first inning, not particularly easy second inning, Johnny Danks has hung around and thrown it pretty well. He's given up just 2 hits. He does have the 3 walks. So far, he's held the Angels at bay. However, the pitches starting to pile up. But John feeling a little more comfortable than he did early, because the control now has come back to him.
1 out for Giavotella. He takes strike 1. When John Danks is going his best, what do you want to see from him?
I want to see his ability to control the outside corner after setting it up with inside pitches. That's what he's been able to do more times than not. I think early he just didn't feel comfortable and was struggling and very much fighting himself with his control. But when you have 2 on and 1 out in the first, 2 on and nobody out in the second, and you get out without giving up a run, you start feeling pretty good about yourself.
Twisted to left, and a base hit for Giavotella, who is 2 for 2. He has 2 of the 3 hits today for the Angels.
They've got a platoon system here with the Angels, and Giavotella, the right-handed counterpart, is a little better hitter. Cliff Pennington, the left-handed counterpart, is a little better defender.
Steve, can I share a tweet with you?
Of course you can, Mon Frere.
Ben says hashtag SoxMath is insane and awesome.
Very nice.
Yes. The answers are piling in, and not a whole lot of them look good. C.J. Cron, a drive right center field. Jackson back at the wall. Austin Jackson reels it in.
Great jump by Jackson. Giavotella was standing on second base, I do believe, having to then push his way back to first after a great catch. Cron with very good power. Austin back to the wall, gets it back in quickly enough, and Giavotella has to retreat. That was close.
Two down. Carlos Perez. Runners off. Throw to second. Save.
Even on the quick tag, what Giavotella was doing was running on first move. And Johnny didn't give Avila much of a chance to throw him out at second base. You can see it here. He's just off to the races. I like the quick tag, but one of the things you think about is trying to keep that glove on him, hoping that he'll pop off the bag. He didn't. Giavotella did a good job that time.
Danks pumps in a strike. 0-2 on Perez. Well, we saw John Danks in spring training have a couple starts in a row that were magnificent.
Yeah, that was probably the pinnacle of what he did all spring and what he can do, because nobody really touched him at all, and he felt very good about his mastery of the outside corner to the right-hand hitters in those appearances.
So 1-2 on Perez. He's 1 for 3 in the series with a strikeout today. Outside and blocked by Avila. Long look in from Danks. 2-2. Fouled off.
If you're a hitter and the pitcher takes that long looking in, you pretty much like to call time, get it acknowledged by the home plate umpire, in this case Paul Nauert, and step out. Get yourself back ready. Pitchers would just as soon vary their timing to the plate, hoping that the hitter is going to somehow relax before he throws the pitch.
Do it again. 2-2. Popped up. Laurie the call and the catch. The Angels have stranded 5 through 4. No score.
Time later in the game, brought to you by Miller Lite.
I look forward to Miller time later in the game.
Brought to you by the aforementioned Miller Lite.
Oh, you weren't done yet.
No. In fact, well, we're just going to hold this in abeyance until the Miller moment, which will be later in the game.
You're putting the Miller moment on layaway?
We're going to have to for now. We also have a brand new sponsored effect.
Oh, do we?
Yes.
Jose Abreu nearly out of his shoes for that 68-mile-an-hour pitch from Jared Weaver. It's Abreu, Frazier, and Cabrera here in the fourth in a scoreless game. Ball to strike on Abreu, who struck out in the first.
We can feel the full effect of that new sponsored effect if we can just score.
It involves the first run of the game.
Yes, it does.
Abreu, a fly ball right center. Mike Trout for out number one. We have an answer for you for Sox Math. A lot of correct answers. The winner is C-Square12, the first one in with hashtag SoxMath. 35 Frank Thomas's jersey number, 3 World Series titles for the Sox, 274 strikeouts. You add them, then subtract the 59 one-run games, the most in Major League Baseball last year. The answer is 320.
And I am going to pick the first prize off our shelf.
Oh, you are?
That's not necessarily on the shelf. I'm going to send them your car. What do you think about that?
Delivery cost to C-Square12. There's the shelf right there.
There's the shelf minus Jason's car, but
it may fit on the shelf. Actually, my car.
There's some actually very nice things. This cap, White Sox cap, terrific. Chris Sale K counter is outstanding.
It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can play with the numbers, and that may need to be the first prize because you win at Sox Math. You got to be good at numbers.
And here's a baseball with Commissioner Kennesaw Mountain Landis on it, so that probably is worth something.
Frazier to the pull side. Second hit today for the Sox.
This is a slider that doesn't slide. It's right down the middle, and Todd able to just ease it into left center field. So another base runner, this time with only one out.
Melky Cabrera, the hitter. He bounced out to Crone at first in the second inning. You know, there's a good second place Sox Math answer we got from A. Advani. He says 355 is the answer after this year's 4th World Series title. You don't win anything, but nice work.
Hashtag optimistic. Very nice.
Sox are 10-5 right now. 3rd best record in Major League Baseball. Frazier back to first. Yeah, Todd has been frisky over at first base in this series. He's willing to go.
Does have the stolen bag. There was a time when he was very familiar with stolen bases, 20 of them a few years back. Probably not going to see that this year. But last year he had 13, and that was an example of not looking at the base runner. So Weaver decided to throw over there before Todd had a chance to even take a lead.
And he's getting the sarcastic cheer from the locals here in Chicago. Melky, a jam shot down the right field side, foul ground. Giamatella, and Crone backpedals away. Out number 2. It's been a while since I've seen that one. Throw to first, guy standing on the bag.
It shows you that not all pitchers will take a look at first base. Weaver came very close that time to quick pitching, where he didn't take the full 1 second pause, something that normally the first base coach, in the case of the Sox, Darryl Boston, has to remind Jerry Meals that he's got to stop.
So 2 out, Brett Lawrie to hit. Sox have had a chance with 2 out and a runner on in each of the last 3 innings now. Lawrie was that base runner back in the 2nd inning. A 2-out double to left field. Frazier is off the base this time.
Chasing him back.
Yeah, he doesn't have a normal lead. Todd doesn't. He's facing second base more than you see the typical runner do that.
But what he'd like to do is have his momentum going toward the bag if the pitcher will allow him to do it.
Fly ball from Lawrie. Mike Trout is in the vicinity. We are still scoreless through 4 this afternoon, folks. Viewers watching on Lamont Telephone in Lamont, Iowa. That's in eastern Iowa. Far eastern Iowa. Right near the border. John Danks embarking on the 5th inning. He'll face Craig Gentry, Yunel Escobar, and Andrelton Simmons. In a 3-hit game thus far against Danks for the Angels. Strike 1. When was the last time you made it to the state of Iowa, Steve Stone?
I have some very dear friends who are from Iowa, but have yet to make it there. I've passed through, like over a plane.
Oh, well, it's over.
Yeah, but no, I haven't been there.
You've never been to Iowa? I was just in Ames back in February, a lovely town. 2 balls and a strike on Gentry, who bounced out into a double play in the 2nd inning. Three and 1 on Gentry. He's 0 for 7 in the series before this game started, and he is on for the first time. Leadoff walk in the 5th inning for Gentry. We'll see if Mike Scioscia.
Yeah, one of the things you really don't want to do, however, ahead of the top of the order, I'd be kind of surprised if he tried to steal it all with Gentry, not with John and his very good move to first base, but Escobar, who's a pretty good hitter and has had luck with Johnny Danks, hasn't had any luck today. But third time through, it's a little more difficult for the starting pitcher.
Yunel Escobar 0 for 2. Now 6 out of 16 career against Danks. Well, you got a great contact hitter in Simmons next. So do you wait to put something on after Escobar? What do you think Mike Scioscia plays here?
Well, he realizes that Escobar has got some power and can drive in runs. I think he plays out this situation than waiting for Simmons up next. Last thing he wants to do is allow Gentry to get adventuresome and then get him picked off first base.
Danks spears it. Rollins turn. Double play.
What terrific play by Johnny Danks, and a very good job of getting out of the way of the base runner by Jimmy Rollins. If you can field your position, it's going to help you win a lot of games. And this is a big effort, a pinpoint throw, and up and over for Jimmy Rollins. And Escobar is grounded into his third double play. Well, this is a real good defensive effort by Danks and Rollins.
Second double play turned by the Sox this afternoon. Base is clear for Simmons, who takes a strike.
So Mike Scioscia waiting for something to happen. Sees a double play.
Yeah, Godot might show up before the next hit and run chance here in the fifth. One and one. Low 2-1 on Andrelton Simmons, who last time up bounced out to Frazier at third.
A number of the scouting reports about Simmons is that everybody has known for a long time what a defensive wizard he is, with a magnificent arm at shortstop. He's swinging the bat now a little bit better than he swung it, and seemingly hitting the ball harder. There you look at John with 52% fastballs. The cutter is a variation of the fastball, so we'll give him 77% fastballs, and then the changeup and the hook.
Foul ball. 3-2. That's bonus Sox math for you. He's just
bonus.
A little addition.
Yeah. There you see the speeds. Fastball at 88, cutter at 85, the changeup 82. Only 6 miles difference between fastball and changeup. That means you got to be pinpoint with your control, and the curveball at 75. Hasn't thrown too many of those, but he's held the Angels at bay.
To left field and down in front of Melky Cabrera for a 2-out single for Andrelton Simmons, his 5th hit of this 4-game series. So Simmons on, Trout up. And with Mike Trout's penchant for getting on base in this series, do you think maybe Mike Scioscia would think about playing a little cat and mouse game at first?
No, I don't think he's going to move at all with Simmons. I think he realizes it's just a matter of time until Mike Trout starts hitting the ball out of the ballpark. He wants to take his chances for the guy that he feels is his best overall hitter. Simmons came very close in the first inning to getting picked off first base.
Danks to Trout. That is a ball inside. You know, Mike Trout, you look at the big numbers home run wise, 41 last year, 36 a season before. In the minors, he was not a significant home run hitter. He had 11 homers in Double-A in 91 games in 2011 with the Arkansas Travelers. The year before that, 10 homers in 131 games.
Not surprising, because he was a very young player who was substantially filled out. If you take a look at probably his weight in those early years and what he weighs now, you'll see a much bigger and a much stronger Mike Trout.
Out of Millville High School in New Jersey, 25th overall 7 years ago in June. Simmons got caught in between there for a moment.
You also see an oddity in his numbers, and that is leading the league in hitting in Arkansas 2011, leading the league in triples, 13 triples. We're not going to see that a whole lot again. Todd Frazier, who has spent the majority of this ball game defensively, very close to the line at third base.
Runners off. Trout bashes this one to left field. The Angels have the lead when it lands.
Second home run of the year. Mike Trout now has 6 driven in. This is a no-doubter, our 4th home run replay, and you saw Avila getting up to try to make the throw, but it really is a moot point, as that ball way back in left center field.
So first 2 runs of the day off the bat of Mike Trout, who's got his 2nd homer against Danks in his career, and a strike to Albert Pujols. After that double play, it looked like it would be 5 clean for John Danks. Instead, he will end the 5th trailing by 2, at least his half of the 5th. Sox will try and get him back coming up next. We look forward to the post-game report, and I certainly hope that you don't drive by me as I walk to dinner tonight. Chuck is stalking me.
I can't believe that not only did he see you, but he drove by you as you take a look at Dr. Jack Ruby.
One of the best molar extractors in all the land.
And the fact is, here it is, the bottom of the 5th inning, and he's still here.
Tapper for Austin Jackson. Perez pounces on it for out number 1. Sox fans, pregame patio parties are the best deal at the ballpark. Patio tickets include a game ticket, an all-you-can-eat buffet catered by Baseball Buffet, wine, and Miller beverages. Patio opens 90 minutes prior to the game and closes 30 minutes after the start of the game. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com/group. One down for Avi Garcia in the 5th. Mid-range center. 2 out. 3 pitches for
Yeah, so
Jared
far
Weaver.
a very easy start to the 5th inning as Weaver has kept it to a minimum. 63 pitches, only 2 hits. He has walked a couple. And there you can see not a whole lot of difficulty so far. The 3rd inning, where he did walk Avila before getting out of the inning, was 22 pitches. Weaver's doing today at least what he's always done against our Sox. 10-2 lifetime against them, although the ERA substantially higher in this ballpark than it is out in Anaheim.
First pitch is inside to Avila. Sox will be out in Anaheim after the All-Star break. Ball and 2 strikes on Avila, who walked back in the 3rd. Sox with a pair of walks and a pair of hits today. Laurie a double, Frazier a single.
And there's a young man who has gotten his Sox calendar, which is not only good looking but very useful because it not only allows you to keep track of the dates, it tells you exactly who the Sox are playing and where they are playing.
Jared Weaver is playing the Sox right now. 5 innings of scoreless ball for the veteran right-hander.
Team pride with White Sox checking and an official White Sox MasterCard debit card only available at your local Wintrust Community Bank. Go to wintrust.com/Sox to learn more. Wintrust Community Bank, member FDIC.
John Danks on for the 6th. Cole Calhoun, his first opposition. And the lefty takes ball 1. Calhoun 0 for 2 with a line out and a fly out. That to center field. The line out on the infield in the first.
Sox bullpen starting to stir with John about ready to deliver pitch number 92.
Extra man in the bullpen right now, Eric Johnson. Called up on Tuesday, recalled from Charlotte, and there is Jake Petrichka getting loose. Sox have that extra man in the bullpen after the third of an inning start from Carlos Rodon on Monday.
Where the bullpen was very good the rest of the way.
Next off day for the Sox, May the 2nd. It is Monday, May the 2nd.
Will be the second scheduled off day of the year.
4-pitch walk to start the 6th. One on, nobody out, and Giovitella, who is 2 for 2 with a pair of singles to left against Danks today.
Don Cooper wants to know exactly how long it's going to take for Jake Petrichka. He's talking with Bobby Thigpen, and what he's asking is, would it be wise to send Avila to the mound to give him a few more pitches to get ready to go, especially with C.J. Cron up next.
And Danks throws to first, maybe to buy a little time as well.
That's another thing that they will do is catcher will give you the sign a couple of times to throw to first base to allow Petrichka some more pitches. Also, now the bullpen has some more activity.
Don Cooper out of the dugout. There's Eric Johnson.
Well, this day and age, when they quantify everything, and they do that, you might remember Aaron Hicks, the young man drafted not too long ago, #1 by the Minnesota Twins. And then they gave him a few different shots. Byron Buxton came along, and he was drafted #1 by the Twins, became their #1 prospect, and now plays center field, so Hicks became expendable. Well, the Athletics tried to test the arm of Aaron Hicks, and he threw the fastest ball ever registered, 105.5 miles an hour, on a fly ball off the bat of Yonder Alonso, nailing Danny Valencia at the plate.
That was a whale of a throw.
105.5 miles an hour by Aaron Hicks.
This is good news for the Sox. Lori Rollins, double play number 3 today for the Sox defense.
That's how you know you've got yourself a really good pitching coach, because you get a struggling pitcher struggling with his control. Don Cooper comes out and said, look, I got an idea for you. Why don't you throw a double play ground ball? And Giovitella retired for the first time today, and quickly there are 2 outs.
And that changes possibly the whole complexion of the bullpen usage in this game.
Well, especially if you get out of this inning and you hold the Angels right there at 2 runs, and you come back with the top part of the order due up in the bottom of the 6th, and put at least 1 on the board against Weaver, who's been close to untouchable.
Ball and a strike on Cron. We mentioned in the opener of this series, father Chris, former Chicago White Sox himself. 0 for 10 as a Chicago White Sox. Very brief time back in the early 90s.
He was a gymnast. Remember that song? His papa was a rolling crone.
As this ball tumbles foul. 1 and 2 for C.J. Cron.
That's what happens when you get no offense.
Ah, yes. We go deeper into the bin of puns.
I also have a couple of other things that are not pun-worthy, but
this is in the air to right. Adam Eaton for out number 3. See if the Sox offense can do some cartwheels in the home 6th. With Italian Heritage Night presented by Beggar's Pizza when the Sox take on the Twins Friday, May 6th. Italian Heritage Night features specially priced tickets and a post-game fireworks show. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com/Italy.
with Adam Eaton leading it off, one of the things you have to look at if you're Eaton in this situation after flying out twice would be where they're playing you, and you'll look up and see Escobar well in on the grass at third, and now Crone moving in a couple of steps in front of the bag at first.
That one winds in for strike one from Weaver. Sox in game 4 of the 7-game homestand. Rangers will be in town coming up tomorrow. Inside, ball and a strike on Eaton. In the air to right field, Cole Calhoun for the first out. Time for America's fastest growing sensation, where we quiz Steve Stone on his own career. How'd you do against Carney Lansford, former Angel? Steve?
As I recall, Carney was a very good contact hitter, so I wouldn't think there were many strikeouts. I think I probably did okay against him. I would like to think I did. That doesn't mean I did. I just like to think that. So I'll say I did okay.
We'll check the numbers later on this half inning. Jimmy Rollins to bat. Carney was in the remake of Angels in the Outfield.
Carney was a pretty good hitter during his day.
Not a terrible actor either, alongside Tony Danza and Christopher Lloyd.
One of the best players ever named Carney.
But not one of the best Carneys.
No, probably not.
Two 2-0 for Rollins, who walked on 4 pitches in what looked to be a promising first. Boy, takes some willpower on a 67-mile-an-hour pitch, doesn't it?
Well, at first he gave up on it, but then he had enough time to pull the trigger but foul it off. It would be very nice to see Jimmy get on ahead of Abreu and possibly Frazier.
Popped him up. Escobar. 2 down. Here's the answer for how'd you do against Carney Lansford. 4 for 17 only. That's pretty good.
And only struck him out twice, walked him 3 times. Not so bad, no home runs because he wasn't a home run hitter, but he did, the little tyrant, drive in 5 in 17 at bats. That's actually a lot of production.
2 down for Jose Abreu, who struck out in the first and went out to Trout last time up. What was Carney Lansford like to face?
Well, you knew he was going to make some contact, and so you had to take in your own mind the strikeout out of the equation. But I didn't like to face normally the contact hitters, especially now Carney was a right-hand hitter. I didn't like to face the left-handed contact hitters. Those are the guys that made for long at bats, and they were usually pretty tough. That Sunday lineup that you hear so much about playing all the guys off your bench, that was always very tough for me.
Your least favorite day? Because
all of those guys they were the guys that were contact hitters.
2-1 to Abreu from Weaver. Deep to left and tailing foul. And you got a good piece of it.
Yeah, that was a rolling breaking ball, not necessarily hanging, but it didn't break very sharply, and unfortunately Jose got well out in front of it and yanked it foul.
Not dissimilar to the pitch that Laurie doubled on back in the second inning.
So a little more activity in the bullpen. That's the Sox bullpen.
Fastball tried to nip the corner, 3-2.
That, by the way, was the fastest fastball that Weaver's thrown, 86 miles an hour. And Jake is ready to go if he's needed.
3-2. Conked foul. Very economically sound today from Weaver. 81 pitches, 5 2/3. His payoff coming to Abreu in a moment. Here it is. Lightly hit in the air to right. Calhoun on the move for the final out of the 6th inning. 8 in a row set aside by Weaver. 2-0 Angels. Autograph session. Fans that purchase this special ticket pack can participate in an exclusive autograph session with select members of the White Sox prior to select games. To purchase, please visit whitesox.com/ autographs. Ed Farmer will be signing autographs tomorrow around Chicagoland.
Jake Petrichka comes into the ball game. He's on for the 6th time. His ERA 1.93. He does have a hold. 4 2/3 innings total. Left-handers hit him better than right-handers. That's not unusual. And we saw Jake in relief of Carlos Rodon in the opener of the series. Went 2 2/3. Gave up just 1 run on 3 hits as the bullpen covered 8 2/3 innings, and they were pretty good.
Jake said after the game, look, I'm a ground ball pitcher. I'm supposed to come in and get you double plays. That's what he did entering that game, and that's what he does here. Frazier to Abreu. 1 down. Mentioned in passing, Ed Farmer signing autographs as part of a support of Illinois Secretary of State Jesse White's organ tissue donation program. There is Ed, who underwent a kidney transplant in 1991. He's going to sign autographs with Harold Baines and Jerry Sands. The Thompson Center, 100 West Randolph, tomorrow from noon to 1. Farmio.
Indeed.
He does not work alone, by the way, although he was filling up the screen. There's Darren Jackson, former Sox outfielder and all-around good guy. DJ's hard at work, by the way. That was a stern Darren Jackson. Over Petrichka, Laurie is there. 2 down.
That wasn't an easy play simply because that last hop for Brett Laurie was not predictable. It looked like it was going to stay down. Goes over the glove, and you see the last hop. It almost took a right turn on him. I think he just barely got a piece of it, and this hop right there hit what appeared to be a spike mark. Brett stays with it and gets it across in time. So 2 out, 2 ground balls, and that's what Jake does best.
Yunel Escobar trying to keep the inning alive for the Angels, and Petrichka fires ball 1. Sox in the home 7th will have Frazier, Cabrera, and Laurie. 4, 5, and 6. .96.
And for Johnny Danks today, 6 innings, a couple of runs, 5 hits. He walked 5, but the 3 double plays certainly helped him with only 2 strikeouts. So all in all, 2 runs in 6 innings, a job well done.
It's the kind of start from your 5th starter you'd like to get a win in.
And after his first 2, I would think that John would be fairly happy. He wasn't happy, obviously, with the pitch to Trout. We failed to retire in 3 at bats, but
Petrichka has this one. 1, 2, 3 inning, all on the ground for Jake. Stretch time in Chicago, 2-0 Angels. Todd Frazier, Melky Cabrera, and Brett Lawrie in the 7th inning. Sox trying to scratch across a couple runs against Jared Weaver in a 2-0 deficit. Frazier to shortstop. Andrelton Simmons smoothly done for out number 1.
Just like we promised earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. And unfortunately, our Miller moment is Mike Trout. It turned out to be the best kind of hit and run with Simmons running. Trout hits it out of the park, his 2nd home run of the year, and provides the only runs of the game. Our Miller moment.
One down for Melky Cabrera. And there is strike 1. Todd Frazier just grounded out. Mike Trout with that homer. 2 Jersey boys. Wonder if they know Frankie Valli. Just about an hour and 15 minutes away down the Garden State Parkway, Toms River, and Millville, New Jersey. That ball is hammered by Melky Cabrera to approximately Trenton. 2-1.
The initial home run of the year for Melky Cabrera, a no-doubter. After being kept in the infield for 2 at-bats, he unloads, cuts the lead in half, drives in his 6th run with that first home run. In our 4th home run replay, Melky gets an off-speed pitch, and he's seen a lot of them, so have all of the Sox, only this one goes over the bullpen and out.
Brett Lawrie trying to get the 2nd run on the board, fouls it away with that homer, a generous donation. Another one from the Alex Nellius family in loving memory of Ursula. Ball to strike on Lawrie.
Well, Brett caught a break, and Paul Nard has been pretty consistent. Although that low pitch has a part of the zone, he hasn't called it on either team, and so you don't see a lot of complaining.
Well, the Sox, with those 136 home runs last year, last in baseball. Lawrie, the homer here, would tie the game. Cabrera makes it 2-1 already. And there you see the Angels bullpen starting. C.J. Cron into the camera well. Hey, guys.
Fortunately, the wind, it has been somewhat of a factor today. Got to that one, and it drifted out of the reach of C.J. Cron. See the flags? The wind, not a huge factor, but a factor nonetheless. And Salas loosening up in the pen.
2-2 for Lawrie, who doubled in his first at bat. And this one to left center. Trout, 2 out. Point on the home runs being, we've already seen in this series what the Sox power can do. It got him the lead yesterday on the Saladino solo homer in the first. 2 days ago, Frazier and Abreu with homers for the first 2 runs in the second and the fourth.
That's the 3rd home run given up by Weaver. And that gives him the team lead.
Jackson to center, where Trout once again stands. But the Sox are halfway there. Melky Cabrera with his first home run. It's 2-1 after 7. Coca-Cola at U.S. Cellular Field. Feature tickets as low as $5 in the upper level and $15 in the lower level in special kid-focused activities throughout the ballpark. Plus, parking's available for only $10. Visit whitesox.com/Sundays to purchase your tickets today. Coca-Cola Family Sunday coming up this Sunday. Sox and the Texas Rangers here at U.S. Cellular Field. 1:10 start time.
There's some Angel fans texting their friends about the nervous nature of this precarious 2-1 lead.
Was less precarious in the bottom of the 7th till Melky Cabrera homered to make it a 2-1 game.
Tough inning ahead for Jake. The heart of the order.
Balls hit hard and foul. 0-2 on Simmons. Oh, 2. And Petrichka is there. Little looping line drive. There is out number 1. Big anniversary today for the Sox. Back on April 21st, 4 years ago. Perfect game time. Philip Umber at Safeco Field. And that was the final out for the Sox right-hander. How about that journeyman? Bounced around from place to place and throws a perfect game. Burley and Charlie Robertson, the 3 in White Sox history.
Pretty amazing performance, and fortunately, out number 27 didn't run after the strikeout because the perfect game then goes by the boards.
That's what made him out number 27.
It's exactly right.
Mike Trout has had quite a day. He's 2 for 2. He's reached 3 times and has all the RBIs for the Angels. Those are the Ichiro Suzuki Mariners at the time. He was in the 3 spot. There were some Sox luminaries in the Chicago lineup that day for sure. Alejandro De Aza, Dion Viciedo,
yes,
among others.
That's why it was a rout.
Two and one for Trout. Right at home plate.
That's off his foot. This is what a good sinker will do to you. If you get it inside, you get it right off the instep.
I know you only hit 100 in your career,
yes,
or you hit a beautiful 100, however you want to frame it. Did you ever foul one off your instep like that?
I did, but it was later. It was long after I retired at a batting range where the velocities were a little slower and my hands then appeared a little quicker. And I found out what all hitters did all of those years after following off my instep. Boy, it felt terrible.
They say words that are not fit for public consumption.
It's not good. But as a professional player, no.
2-2 for Trout. 3-2. Albert Pujols, who is 0 for 14 in the series, is on deck. Three-two. Ball 4. Trout is on with 1 out.
Now, assuming that that foot is okay, Mike Scioscia might think about running with Trout. He was gunned down yesterday. He normally has very good speed. 1 out of 2 in the stolen base category. As Zach Duke starts to throw, most likely for Cole Calhoun, assuming Pujols does not ground into a double play.
Albert 0 for 3 today with a pop out to short and 2 flyouts to right, one of which looked like it had a chance off the bat to be big trouble. Strike one.
Yeah, we're asking Paul Nauert, but that ball had the whole plate. That was not really a debatable issue.
Right back to Jake. Easy does it. 4 double plays turned by the Sox this afternoon. Back to the bat rack, Garcia, Avila, and Eaton next. And certainly see if the Sox can put a rally together in the 8th against the Angels bullpen, which is finally put into use today.
Joe Smith comes into the game, and in the anybody but Weaver category, he comes on for the 8th time. 0-1, 5.14 ERA, 7 innings, 9 hits. He's usually pretty tough on the right-handers. He has some problems with the left-handers because he is not a submariner exactly, but certainly low sidearm. You might remember Smith from his days with the Cleveland Indians and Cliff Pennington. We talked about the defensive counterpart at second base. It's Pennington.
First pitch, a strike to Avi Garcia to open the bottom of the 8th. And this is shocking to me, considering you would think Joe Smith, generically named reliever, he's only the 2nd Joe Smith to pitch in Major League Baseball.
In the history of Major League Baseball.
According to Baseball Reference, he's the 2nd Joe Smith to pitch. Garcia goes down swinging.
How many hotels has he checked into?
One down for Avila. The first Joe Smith was a catcher. Salvatore Joseph Smith in 1913 with the Yankees.
He doesn't count because Sal was his official first name.
Thank you. One down for Avila. Big shift on for Alex on the infield as per normal. He takes strike one, and this Joe Smith has thrown 4 pitches, all strikes.
He's got a vicious sinker. His slider much more effective to right-handers than left-handers. Tried to nip the outside corner, and that one missed wide. Smith, I believe, signed a 3-year free agent deal with the Angels. He was a quality setup man in his days with the Indians. And another one, that one just misses the outside corner.
Two and one to Avila. Adam Eaton on deck. Jimmy Rollins to follow. It'd be 3 straight left-handers if it holds against Smith. Career entering this series, Joe Smith saw lefties hit 247, righties 213 against him. Avila to right field, a 1-out single for Alex.
That represents a tying run, and now we're going to see a pinch runner. It's Tyler Saladino as Alex with a big base hit.
Saladino coming in, and we remind you, you can vote now for your favorite moments and milestones from the first 25 years of U.S. Cellular Field. Head-to-head matchups run through May 19th, and the defining moment will be revealed during homecoming weekend, presented by the Village of Bedford Park, May 20th through the 22nd. Visit whitesox.com/USCF25 to vote today. Ball one to Adam Eaton.
5 years in a row, Joe Smith has thrown at least 70 appearances, so he's been very durable. 3 of those years with the Indians, the last 2 with the Angels. Good lead at first by Saladino. Perez has been tested 1 time, and he gunned down Jimmy Rollins in the first inning.
1-0. Late decision by Adam, 1-1.
You've got Escobar well off the line at third base. He's in on the grass, making sure that Adam's not thinking about a bunt. Gentry over toward the line in left field.
One. Now ball and 2 strikes on Adam, who has gone out twice to Calhoun in right and once to Trout in center.
That sidearm slider was over the middle of the plate, and you score a couple of runs. There's the man you're going to look at. 6 for 6 in save opportunities for David Robertson.
Saladino's out.
Well, in a situation like that where you're picked off that badly, you might as well just go into second base. Hope to get yourself, you got a right-handed first baseman. What you want to do is you want to drift to the outfield side of second, try to take away his throwing lane and try to beat the throw, because you're not going to do it getting in a rundown.
1-2. Inside, 2 balls, 2 strikes for Eaton, with Rollins, Abreu, Frazier the next 3 scheduled hitters for Robin Ventura, trying to get a 3rd straight win in this series and take the series. It's going to have to be in the 9th. The strikeout for Smith. 2-1 Angels. Live with the MLB.com at Bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with game day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your smartphone and tablet. New pitcher, Steve.
Zach Duke comes in. A fine performance by Jake Petrichka. And Zach on for the 10th time. He's been a very busy man. The quintessential situational left-hander, as the innings have been kept to a minimum for Zach, but he's been pitching well lately.
Told you at the beginning of the game, the Sox have the best bullpen ERA in Major League Baseball entering play today, and that's, at least for now, going to dip under 150 for the year. Trouble down the left field side. Melky coming quickly. Calhoun for his second. Save!
Nice job by Jimmy Rollins as he kept the glove on Calhoun, hoping that when he slid in to try to avoid the tag, his hand would come off the bag, but he was able to hook it and stay right there. So this one sliced inside the line. You see how far Frazier is off the line. No defense for that, and then Melky makes it close at second. Bare hand, throw in one motion. Take another look.
No, he's in.
No, he is in, and even more importantly, despite swinging his body to the outfield side a second, he was able to hook the bag and make sure that he didn't come off.
They're going to look at it.
So heads up play by Jimmy Rollins, keeping his hand on the tag. So right there, he hasn't gotten him yet.
There's a cloud of dirt which obscures the hand on the bat.
And the hi-ho silver, which came after it.
Away. So they will talk to New York. They being the umpires, led by Jerry Meals, the crew chief. And stands right now as the 4th double for Calhoun this season. See Robin debating the play right there in his mind. Was he, wasn't he? Mike Scioscia, who's been there on that bench since the year 2000.
Dino Ebel sitting right to his right. Guy who's been around a long time also. In fact, the coaching staff for Mike Scioscia has been a good one over the years, and many of them have left for the express purpose of managerial jobs. Joe Madden being one of them. Ron Renicky, another one of them. Bud Black, yet another one of his coaches to become a major league manager.
Safe the call. Calhoun remains at second. And Giovatelli, Cron, and Perez, 3 right-handers on the way. Yesterday, Jones and Robertson for 2 innings. Day before that, Albers and Jones for 2 2/3. We saw Petrichka, Putnam, Jennings, and Duke in the series opener.
Giovatelli does have one sacrifice this year.
Calhoun was wise to the game that time. Ball. Good news for Zach Duke is righties still have no hits against him thus far in 2016.
Lefties, on the other hand, have gotten a few more hits than Zach would like.
Play is to first for Duke. And Laurie covering, scored 1-4 on the sacrifice. Bringing up Cron to try to drive the ball and give the Angels another run. A sac fly is available for C.J. Cron, who flied out to center back in the 4th and to right in the 6th.
Take a look at Jimmy Rollins on this play. If he doesn't make that bunt, there's a very good chance that they're going to throw him out at second base.
And Robin Ventura is going to intentionally walk C.J. Cron. Walk number 7 today for Sox pitching. This one intentional.
And what Mike Scioscia loved to do in his earlier days with a little different configuration of his ball club is use the suicide.
Sox had not called for time, the Angels are alleging. Cron peeled off from first on his way to second.
And Robin discussing everything with Paul Nauert.
It's the most eventful pitching change of 2016 so far. There was originally a play at third.
Todd Frazier believes that they were able to tag Calhoun before he got to the bag.
Looked like he was standing on the bag to me, didn't it? To you?
Yes, did.
Now Duke at this point will stay. Conversation about the defense here for the Sox possibly.
Perez, who has yet to get the ball out of the infield and does not have either a sacrifice fly or a sacrifice bunt. But runners at the corners, only one out.
Sox have turned 4 double plays today. Bunt foul.
And that was a suicide because Calhoun was coming. See him coming right there, trying to make sure his timing was such that Zach Duke did not see him coming.
Oh, and 1 on Perez. First and third, 1 out. Bunt again. Duke has to go to first. The Angels get a run on the play. 3-1 as Mike Scioscia gets his run on the bunt.
RBI number 2, and when they try one suicide, you see the hitter squaring around a bunt. That's when you've got to change your pitch selection, whatever it is, and throw one right at his head to get him out of there.
So the gap now 2 runs. And Duke feeds in strike 1. That's even more important of a run considering the 3 coming up for the Sox. You have Abreu and Frazier second and third after Rollins. The one swing of the bat, tie the game types. Foul tipped, 0-2.
Houston Street, the closer, who's been dormant in this series.
Downstairs, 1-2.
Houston Street has 3 saves so far.
Chance for a 4th. It seems coming in the home 9th. So this inning, the Calhoun double, Pennington the bunt, Crone intentionally walked, Perez the bunt, bringing home Calhoun. And the insurance run for the Angels. Frazier on the charge, double clutched it and still got him. Leadoff double scores, 3-1 Angels. Rollins, Abreu, Frazier coming up.
Sox will open the weekend series with Adrian Beltre and the Texas Rangers. It all starts at 7 p.m. on CSN.
Texas hot. 3 in a row in the win column for the Rangers. See him tomorrow starting 3.
And Houston Street comes on. He's 1-0, hasn't given up anything this year. He is a sinker baller and he is a side wheeler. 3 for 3. 1 hit in 4 2/3. Couple of strikeouts, no walks. Left-handers have gotten the only hit. And it's going to be up to the middle of the order to get something going. A 2-run deficit.
Jimmy Rollins, Jose Abreu, Todd Frazier, the 3 scheduled for the Sox. Rollins walked in the first and kept the next 2 in the infield. Happy birthday, by the way, to Gary Peters, who turned 79 today, former White Sox.
Good pitcher, very good hitter, actually.
Ball 1 to Jimmy Rollins.
The shift is on with Escobar well off the line at third.
Ball and a strike for Rollins. Abreu, then Frazier and Melky Cabrera, if anyone were to reach, and the inning continued. Nice pitch on 1-1 to the corner, or so says Paul Nauert, the plate umpire.
This ball, same place as the others, although that one probably off the plate.
He tested that expandable corner. It's 2-2.
Street originally started his career with Oakland, got to the big leagues in 2005. Later, a stop at Colorado, San Diego, before coming to the Angels.
Career high 40 saves last year. 3-2 to Rollins.
Jose Abreu would love to hit representing the tying run.
Payoff pitch. Fouled away.
Every pitch has been well away from Rollins. And for Street, when he goes away from his strong suit, and that is sinkers, sometimes he gets himself in trouble, and so far he's been throwing everything up, which is not what he'd like to do.
3-2. Again to the left side and foul.
That was the first pitch that Street threw where he normally does it, and that was thigh high, outer portion of the plate. .318 lifetime saves for Houston Street in what has been a pretty good career.
Pitch number 8 on the way. In the air on the infield. Andrelton Simmons has out number 1.
Melky Cabrera hit a home run in the 7th, making it 2-1. And with that first White Sox run, eClick Lending has donated $100 to the Pat Tillman Foundation, supporting military veterans and their families.
Sox hoping for a second and third and fourth run at some point before the day comes to an end. Abreu and Street. Ball 1. One ball, one strike on Jose Abreu, who's 0 for 3 in the game, 2 for 15 in the series, in his first career at bat against Houston Street.
That last pitch is what makes Street very tough, and that is the off-speed pitch that looks like a strike only to sink out of the zone.
Opposite way, foul ball, 1-2 for Abreu. Sox got their lone run in that 7th inning on the Melky Cabrera homer. Mike Trout, a 2-run shot in the 5th. Insurance run for the Angels in the top of the 9th after a leadoff double from Cole Calhoun. Strike 3, he went outside. 2 down for the Sox in the 9th.
Street that time did not drop from the side. He stayed on top of that slider and kept it out of the zone. So Todd Frazier, the last hope.
Frazier's single in the 4th was the second hit of the day for the Sox. They have 2 more after that. Ball 1.
Just keep it alive for Melky, who represents the only bit of offense today. His first home run of the year, coming into 7th.
Right down the pike for strike 1. Jared Weaver, 7 innings of 3-hit, 1-run ball for the Angels. Outdueling John Danks so far today. Sox are down to their final strike. It's 1-2 on Frazier. Houston Street. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Frazier gives it a ride, right center field. Trout and Calhoun back. It's gone. Todd Frazier makes it a 1-run game.
4th home run for Frazier. His 8th driven in. And that suicide squeeze looming large in the 9th inning as the Sox do tack on a run here and leave it up to Melky as our 4th home run replay is Street, who tried to do to Frazier what he did to Abreu, stay on top of a slider and sweep it out away. This had too much of the plate and gone. A blast to right center.
So now it's up to Melky, who's homered once today. He takes ball 1. Outside, 2-0.
Perez tried to ease it back into the zone, but Paul Nauert would have none of it. So Melky in very much of a hitter's count. Brett Lawrie in the on-deck circle.
3-0. Houston Street is all over the place to Melky Cabrera.
Taking all the way there, and you wondered if you would take a gamble, but even on a 3-0 green light, you're not going to swing at anything high and away.
All right, 3-1 from Street. Got another.
That was a break because that was a backdoor slider that probably hooked around the plate. Nauert thought it was close enough.
3-2 on Melky. That is ball 4. The inning stays alive for Lawrie.
Tying run on, winning run at bat. Now the outfield's going to play substantially deeper than they've played all day long in a no double set. And remember, it's a very strong throwing outfield. And they are way back there. Gentry in left, Trout in center, Calhoun in right. Trout is almost on a track in center field.
Two out, 1 on. High, ball 1.
Do you think Brett Lawrie has ever hit a game-winning home run?
I think he wants to do it right now, that's for sure. 1 for 3 career against Houston Street. Strike called.
Left that slider over the inside part of the plate. A mistake by Street. And he realizes he got away with one.
Ball and a strike. Off the plate again. 2-1 from Houston Street, who got a pop out to short and a strikeout to start the inning. Then Frazier homered and everything changed. Cabrera a walk. And the Sox are making Street fight himself on the mound. Cabrera at first, 2-1. 3-1.
Neither of the closers from their respective teams has blown a save this year. Street having some problems, has got to make at least one very dangerous pitch to Brett Lawrie.
Set up outside, 3-1. Would have been ball 4.
He is well off the corner. You see where Perez sets up. He wants it away. This one is a slider, but it's off the plate. Lowry could not check his swing. Now the advantage is Melky will be running.
(3-2). That's ball 4. 2-1, 2 out in the 9th. Here comes Austin Jackson.
Here comes Charles Nagy, the pitching coach of the Angels. Comes to the mound. He wants to talk with Street, who's wandering around on the grass with 2 walks in a row, which came after a towering home run to right center off the bat of Todd Frazier.
Austin Jackson is 0 for 5 in his career against Houston Street. Good time for a first hit. First and second, 2 down, 1-run game. Jackson to left field. Gentry back at the wall. Game over. Hearts in throats throughout U.S. Cellular Field, about 10 feet away.
Unfortunately, didn't have quite enough on it. Caught it off the end of the bat. And Jackson hitting for a game-ending home run, only to fall short. Same could be said about the Sox. They came back. They have a tendency to score late. A solo home run by Melky in the 7th. A solo home run by Frazier here in the 9th. And the deciding situation was not a home run. It was a suicide squeeze by Perez in the 9th inning. The second in a row called by Mike Scioscia. The second one turned into the run that was the decider.
So the Sox fall 3-2 and split the series with the Angels. The Rangers will be in town coming up tomorrow. So for our director Jim Angio, our producer John Walgren, our associate producer Chris Kamka, tech manager Mark Harper, our entire crew, and the executive producer Jim Corno Jr. For Steve Stone, I'm Jason Benetti saying so long, everybody. Coming up next, Subaru Postgame Live with Chuck and Bill. You've been watching Chicago White Sox baseball on Comcast Sportsnet. Good night.